Therefore, if you are able to read the minds of others and understand their feelings effectively, then only I and you deserve to be called educated. Many a time, man is said to be selfish. We cannot understand the feelings of others as we can understand that of others, that of ourselves. As a result, many a time we love ourselves, we fight for our freedom, we fight for our rights, and forgetting that of others. In that context, emotional intelligence becomes a prominent topic for discussion for leaders, academicians, teachers, including general public at home. Say, for instance, emotion is a subjective and personal experience. It is based on the psychological episodes that we have experienced throughout our life. It is connected to our knowledge and actions. Emotions are connected to knowledge and actions. You will be knowing what is happiness. On the same line, you know what is pain, what is humiliation, what is insult, what is grace, what is a curse. The word grace and the curse makes us to think differently, though they are simply expressions. How did we got to know that curse means something, grace means something, help means something, disturbance means something, danger means something, encouragement means something, It is because of the knowledge and action. The knowledge, what we know and what happened to us, what we know and what we do. Based on that, emotions get meaning. Man is said to be a bundle of emotions. Try to bear with me as I started abruptly. If some of you may not be able to understand in the right spirit that I am telling, if you cannot follow me, take the liberty to stop me and ask questions so that whatever the time that we are spending with all these difficulties must become meaningful. Emotion is a state of excitement, both physically and mentally can be expressed. Our emotions can be expressed mentally and physically. Mentally, the disturbance happened to you can be felt inside. And that feeling can be expressed openly in terms of your eye movements, facial expressions, body language, and things like that. By looking at a person, we can understand whether he is angry, whether he is suffering from hunger, whether he is happy or otherwise. Therefore, emotions makes everything in our life. That too for teachers, whose job is 99% emotional in nature, sensitive in nature. We must be in a position to balance between our actions and thinking. We may think a lot, but unless it is put into action, it gets no meaning at all. Teaching is an action that requires coordination of emotions and actions. It is a sensitive and emotional job. I'm talking to people of that nature who are supposed to prepare students who are going to be a real asset for the community and the nation. At the first instance, as teachers, we need to inculcate emotional intelligence as a skill within us, with the help of which we can understand the emotions of others. And then we must teach our students to be emotionally competent to address both the academic and the life-related problems. Particularly, the youngsters who come and sit in front of us as students, they are suffering from one or the other difficulty directly connected to the academics. What are the main difficulty that they are facing in the course of study as youngsters and who came with an intention of learning? I have made a list of certain things. I'll just run through this. You can take the liberty to question me, cross-question me, comment on this so that something new will emerge. Otherwise, it is just going to be from my side, shouting aside, forced to hear that. the first instance, motivational difficulties. Many students are not very clear as to why they should put efforts to study seriously, why they should complete the course, why they should come out with flying colors, let it be in terms of marks or learning. It is unfortunate, everything is measured through some yardstick. The yardstick that we are using is the marks that they get at the end of an evaluation process. Based on that, we say somebody is successful, somebody is not. Many people who have the potential to become successful may not involve themselves because of the motivational difficulties. Many people may be suffering from a sort of demotivated thinking, which makes them to think, will you get a job after this course? Will you become successful with this? Will you be able to pass this examination? Will you be able to face the crisis that you have in front of you? Such a thinking will make them disgusted, disappointed. In addition to that, you might have seen many students will face the problem of getting adjusted to the college life. Some of them may be from rural area, some of them may be from very elite families. Because of both the reasons, when they are in a college, which is different from their primary schools or nursery or high schools, may experience the difficulty of get adjusted to the college environment, get adjusted to the people around them, maybe the teachers, staff, and other classmates. And some students will come out with a question of lagging the study skills. They will ask a question, how to prepare for this course, how to study this. Say, for instance, what do you expect me? Do you expect me to answer the questions you give at the end of the semester? Will it be okay if I answer the questions? Is that all you want? What do you expect from us? Many people don't know that. And many students are directionless. They don't know why they are doing all this and what should be the ultimate destination that they are supposed to reach. And a greater majority of the students have personal problems. Those personal problems may be related to socio-economic, political issues. And more than anything, the students who are coming and sitting in front of us, they are in the age group which makes them to be in a transition in life. They are in the transition of their life because they are neither kids nor grown-ups. If you think they have passed a degree or PUC, they are grown-ups, they are not that mature. If you think they are kids, they will listen to anything that I am telling, even that's not true. They have the capacity to think. This particular transition in the life of the students makes them to be confused, makes them to be disturbed. Because of this disturbance, they may not concentrate on their studies. They may not be that serious about where to go after this, where to go after this course. As a result, at the first instance, we need to help them to get out of this problem. And to make them to get out of the problem, as teachers, we need to learn a lot to handle the emotions of others. Therefore, in this regard, I am of the opinion, nobody is absolutely perfect in reading the minds of others. As I was telling earlier, if education makes us to read the minds of others, at least to 60 to 70%, that is the real education. If it makes us to understand the pains, problems, difficulties of the people who are with us and come out with a solution for that, that is the real justification that we can give for education that we are imparting. On that score, ultimately, as academicians, we need to create an environment where there is not only literacy. Our job is not to teach the subject given to us, let it be literature, let it be political science, economics, management, philosophy, chemistry, etc. It is not only to make them literally strong, but also socially, ethically, make them to be transparent and transform from their earlier stage of not knowing, not able to solve the problem to the stage of thinking, innovatively, and come out with solutions for the problems around them. There comes the importance of understanding emotional intelligence. I was telling, intelligence includes lot many things like vocabulary, mathematical ability, that, these and all. Based on that intelligence only, you cannot say whether a person is going to be successful or weak in life. Because IQ, what is called intelligent quotient, is a weak predictor about an individual's ability to perform a job, about an individual's achievements in life, about an individual's success, wealth, and happiness in life. By just looking at one's degrees, number of academic qualifications one is having, or his ability to solve the mathematical problems or the formulas that he remembers, you cannot say that he is happy in life and he is able to do something great. What makes people who are successful in life, it is not only their IQ, it is the EQ. The EQ is nothing but the emotional quotient. Emotional quotient, or the emotions, are the most significant predictors of success of an individual. Success of an individual normally depends on not one's ability to celebrate the victory. It depends on the ability to handle frustrations. I think you can understand. Am I reaching? Excuse me. Can you follow me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Bear with me. I was telling, the success of an individual cannot be predicted only on the basis of his ability to celebrate the victory. What is very important in life is ability of an individual to handle the defeat, to handle the frustrations. Therefore, many a time you might have noticed our present day generation of students are missing this. They cannot sustain the pressure. They cannot tolerate a small incident of failure, disgraceful or disappointing situation. They become too emotional and either withdraw from the scene or they themselves get into an act of self-disturbance, self-pitying, and a sense of suicidal. A sense of suicidal, I'm telling, but it is true also. Suicidal tendency is more among the people who don't have the capacity to tolerate the failure. One must be able to tolerate, one must be able to accept the defeat. Accept the defeat. But our environment has made people only to appreciate the victory, because the world always loves the winners. The world always makes the people to become a winner. But winning is not that easy. Everybody cannot win. There will be failures also. People who have failed must learn a lesson how not to fail next time. For that reason, we must create an act of accepting failure among the people, and those who cannot accept the failure will never become successful in big things. Keeping that in mind, emotions are concerned with success is the product of for those who have the ability to handle frustration, who have the capacity to manage their own emotions, and who have the capacity to manage social skills. Put together all this, we call it managing emotions. These days, managing emotions have become the most prominent thing. I don't know how many of you have read an article very recently, 2-3 days back, published in the Hindu newspaper, wherein the title runs like the age of social fitness. The age of social fitness. It is not your academic fitness or the physical fitness that matters a lot. What matters is your social fitness. Social fitness speaks about your ability to get into the social realities. Social realities. World is not always a bed of roses. World is even not a bed of thorns also. It is made up of both good and bad. Your ability to understand the realities and get accustomed to the real situations makes you to be a successful person. Even As teachers, every day we cannot get appreciations. There may be blames here and there. It is easy to accept appreciations, but difficult to digest the criticisms. Emotional intelligence makes people to accept these both. Our ability to manage the emotions will make us a different type of person. We need to teach all this to our students, because students, most of them, however intelligent they may not be that competent to understand and manage their emotions. Let me precisely tell you what are emotions. I made a definition in the beginning. Emotions are the consequence of the psychological episodes that we have undergone throughout our life. Based on that, we can define each word. Say, for instance, joy, happiness, surprise, anxiety, sadness, anger, jealous, disgust, frustration, fear, love. These are all the expressions that will get defined and redefined based on our experience. Say, for instance, the moment I say happiness, people will think differently. The moment I say jealous, people will think differently. The moment you hear the word love, we interpret it differently, because it is in that way we were all made to think, understand, interpret, and apply. Because of that, we are all like this. Therefore, emotional intelligence is concerned with managing all this effectively. When we look at the emotions, many a time people say, don't be too emotional. Don't be too emotional. Because many a time we think negatively about being emotional. Because our understanding is that emotions are chaotic, ephemeral, superfluous, incompatible with reason, disorganized. They are largely visceral and resulting in lack of effective adjustment. By looking at people who are suffering from this, we say emotions are bad. Emotions are not bad. Emotions can be used effectively to achieve our purpose. Say, for instance, instead of being a taskmaster, if you emerge as a leader, you can see success like anything. Instead of threatening, creating fear, and making people to work with fear, if you win their loyalty, even in your absence, people will do what you expect without failure. Therefore, even inside the classroom, our job is not to make students how to behave under the supervision of a strict master. It is to prepare them to be self-disciplined citizens, self-monitored, self-controlled individuals. In that context, managing emotions will become very significant if the emotions are not managed properly. Too much of giving importance only to emotions will make us to arrive at a conclusion like overgeneralization, excessive worrying, and worrying as magical thinking, jumping into negative conclusions, labeling and mislabeling of people and events around us, personalization of everything, stonewalling, criticism and contempt of the disciplinary actions. This will make us to be emotionally negative. If these emotions are used properly, we can create an excellent ambience. I thought of going further to tell you what is emotional intelligence, but I'm getting slides that are more related to academics and for teachers. Look at this in our day-to-day activities. What are the situations that makes us to be emotional and that give a challenge of managing emotions are? Look at this. When it comes to attendance, writing, participating, problem solving, ethical behavior, working in teams, and looking at everything from the global perspective and talking about lifelong learning, appreciating for diversity and diverse perspectives. These are the situations wherein we need to become little emotional. And in our day-to-day activities, our students and our emotional relations will get bursted into actions and reactions particularly in the event of when they get poor grades, when we have to introduce general disciplinary solutions for problems, attendance related issues, poor relationship between the student and the teachers, confrontation with the authority. You can understand what are all these. If you cannot, you can question me. And substance abuse, damaging the public property, joining gangs, groups, dropping out of the course, committing suicide, manhandling of colleagues, people involved in the academic circle. These are all the situations that makes us to think something is missing, something wrong is happening with regard to the ability to manage emotions. There comes the question of understanding what is emotional intelligence. Our job is to prepare students not only strong in academic content, but also in their ability to handle emotions. During my second attempt to interact with you in the HRDC, I started showing this slide, wherein I made an attempt to define what is emotional intelligence. I will continue with this quickly. It is the capacity for recognizing our own feeling and those of others, for motivating ourselves and for managing emotions well in ourselves and in our relationship. Relationship itself is an emotional dependency. Believe me, what is relationship? Relationship in the human terminology, you can say, is an emotional dependency. Emotional intelligence is concerned with understanding our emotions and emotions of others for the purpose of managing the emotions both in ourselves and others. There is a saying, if you respect, others will respect you. If you love, others will love you. If you help, others will do the same thing. But many a time it may not happen. Why it does not happen? Where the things went wrong? And what mistake we did in recognizing the emotion in the other person, and how to manage situations that may lead to extreme happiness, extreme sorrow, extreme excitement, because these are all not good things. Extreme happiness, extreme excitement, extreme fear, all these things are not good. Our intelligence lies in understanding the balanced path, how to balance the emotions and what type of reactions we should give for a situation. Say, for instance, I don't know how you take it. In my opinion, in our day-to-day life, when we have to interact with the youngsters and the present generation of students and the present generation of people, every day there are n number of reasons to get ourselves angry. Get angry. When you get angry, what will you do? I'm posing this question to you. Do you think there are n number of situations that makes you angry? Yes or no? If yes, when you are angry, how do you get out of it? Can anybody react to this question? It is just to test whether you are listening to me or not.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes? There are reasons every day to get angry.
Yes, sir.
How to control your anger?
We tend to get angry
Uh,
because of many things.
okay.
The thing is, in order to control your anger, you need to take a pause when you get an anger. That is what generally people practice.
Okay.
And outbursting our anger also depends upon our target.
Defense mechanisms
Okay.
for managing anger.
Please. Dr. Atal,
Yes, sir.
I cannot hear you. Make it, please. Once again, repeat it.
But,
Sometimes-
but it is very
sometimes there are
difficult, sir.
defense mechanisms.
It is difficult?
Yes, sir. We may tell,
Yes.
but when it comes for practitioners, sir,
Yeah.
though we are teachers, though we tell students that we should not get angry like that. When it comes for ourselves, no, sir,
Yes.
No, it is my personal experience, sir.
It's the experience of most of us. Because anger is one of the most powerful emotion that is responsible for many things that happens around us. There is a popular saying, wars are not fought between countries. Wars are fought between two minds. If these two minds are peaceful, harmonious, think in parity, I was telling in the beginning, education's ultimate objective is to teach empathy, an ability to understand the other person. My way to tell you is that it is true that all of us cannot control our anger. At least as educated people, for a second we must think the reason for the anger. Why the other person got angry with me? If I were in his position, what would have been my reaction? That will make us, say for instance, all the time, as somebody in the beginning said, take a pause. When you are angry, count to 10 before you speak. That's a good practice. But it will make you, after after counting 10, you'll become once again angry. To be analytical, to be practical, just think for a while. Why the other person got angry? If I were in his position, what would have been my reaction to that? That will help us to a greater extent. But unfortunately, in our system, we have not given importance for issues like understanding anger and managing anger. In most of the Western countries, because of this so-called civilized approach to life, highly educated and civilized approach to life, anger has become one of the most toughest thing to handle. That led towards a lot of disturbance in the society. You might have read it in the newspapers. In many Western countries, they have a ministry to address the problem of loneliness and anger. A ministry for addressing psychological disorders. Most of us are suffering from these problems because of the situation around us, the instigations around us. There are n number of instigations to make us disturbed, get angry. Emotional intelligence must help us to solve this problem of getting angry. How not to get angry? Because man becomes the servant of this emotion most of the time. If you are a learned person, if you are an educated person, you must be able to master over that emotion. If you become the master of that emotion, you can control it. If not, remove it 100%. Even the so-called saints may not be able to manage that 100%, but you can reduce the intensity. Therefore, my task was to ask you, don't you think there are n number of situations that makes you angry every day? Like that disappoints you every day. That leads to frustration every day. That makes you to think negatively and may lead towards pessimism. Sometimes we fear, am I becoming a pessimist? And I started thinking negatively. The world is full of opportunities, but sometimes by seeing n number of threats, we may develop a feeling, a sense that makes you to think always negatively. No, it will not happen. It will not work. People are not that good. People don't listen to me. Right? Therefore, an understanding of the subject emotional intelligence will help us to solve these type of situations. If not 100%, to some extent, the gravity can be reduced. Therefore, I wanted to tell you, emotional intelligence is a subject concerned with understanding our emotions and emotions of others in order to manage them to have better relationship, both at home and in the working place. It includes a number of issues. But believe me, the concept emotional intelligence has become popular only after the publication of a book of the same title by Daniel Goleman. Daniel Goleman has published a book with the same title, Emotional Intelligence. Once I start speaking about this, you will think, most of you who may not have read this book will think there is nothing new in it. Yes, there is nothing new in this concept, emotional intelligence. We have been talking about it since centuries. But an organized, systematic attempt to practice this as a means for handling human relations has become popular only after the publication of this book in the year 1995. Since 1995, in every training, let it be for the middle level or the top level officers, leaders, bureaucrats, etc., there will be a concept on emotional intelligence. What it is, I told you, it is the ability to understand your emotion and understand the emotions of others. What are emotions? I told you, happiness, joy, sorrow, sadness, anger, eagerness, curiosity, disappointment. There are n number of emotions. To manage them, you need 5 most powerful ingredients in your management tool. Those ingredients are, at the first instance, self-awareness, followed by that, self-regulation. Third one is self-motivation, followed by that, social awareness and social skills. Again, I tell you precisely what are all these, and then we can discuss later on if there are questions. Self-awareness. What does it mean? It means how much you know about you. How much you know about you. Many a time, we claim that we know everything in the world. But the truth is that we don't know most of the things about us. We are ignorant of our own abilities, weaknesses. Why it happens? We spend very less time to understand ourselves. Understanding ourselves does not mean sit alone and worry a lot. There is a difference between worrying and making introspection. Make a SWOT analysis through an introspection. Try to understand yourself. People confuse between meditation and worrying. And meditation need not be all the time something spiritual. Take it in the psychological sense. Close your eyes for a while and think about yourself as to what are your strengths and weaknesses. The great people on the earth are those who dwell upon their strength and get out of their weaknesses. Do you know your strength? Do you know your strength? Not only we the teachers, even our students sometimes may not be knowing their own strength, their own competence rather, not confidence, competence. Because such an environment was not provided to them. Such an opportunity was not given to them. We never allowed them to be independent, to think differently. Therefore, the first thing that we need to understand is about self. Know yourself. How much you know. What do you know about you? If I ask you a question, can you describe yourself in one sentence? Can you describe yourself in one sentence to substantiate what you are? The question asked is, who are you? Many a time we don't know who are we. It's a philosophical question. It's not that casual to answer this question. Even to make you engage, one or two of you, can you define yourself? Can you describe yourself in one sentence? What are you? Who are you?
Sir, we can only just introduce ourselves to others as far as our identity is concerned, but not as a person, what we are, how we are.
Yes. You cannot do that. Many a time,
Yes, sir. We cannot precisely put it in sentences.
if it is required, if it is essential, if the question is forced on you to describe yourself in one sentence, how will you describe yourself, madam?
this is one of my favorite lines. When someone asks me like in this way, I would say, I am what I am. That's it.
What are you? You are what
I
you
am what I am.
are. Do you know what you are?
That's where it requires a lot of
Ah,
description.
see, why I'm repeatedly asking this question is, many a times you are trying to hide yourself through this cover. You're trying to mask yourself by saying, I am
Yes,
what
sir.
I am.
Yeah.
When you
We
cannot
have
define,
many nomenclatures, sir.
yes.
We can talk about others for hours together, but to
Yeah.
explain ourselves in one sentence, it is not possible.
It's not, it is so difficult.
Yes, very difficult because we have to go in depth and explain ourselves in one sentence.
Yes.
And in addition, no one would have made an attempt to think about themselves in the first place, sir.
That is the reason.
We-
That's the reason.
Yeah.
Emotional intelligence, the beauty
We
of
don't we don't
emotional intelligence
introspect
is there.
ourselves.
Please, please complete. As you rightly said, we don't think there is a need to understand ourselves. Basically, we think we know about us. What is there to think about us? Education must make everybody to be competent to have an insight into themselves. Having an insight is nothing but what is generally called tapas. Meditation, tapas, in other words. It is to know yourself, understand yourself. We waste our time to know about others. As you rightly said, given an opportunity, we speak for hours together about others because we thought a lot about them. We worried a lot about them, but we never spent so much of time to know about us. That's the reason I said in the article I quoted in the beginning, social fitness starts with loving yourself, caring yourself, understanding yourself. Just like when you go to a fitness center for building a body of fitness, psychologically, we need to be fit enough to understand ourselves, what I am, why I am, what is my strength, where I can fit in. It may look strange, but it is inevitable. Everybody cannot succeed. At least if you are able to reach 20%, 30% of the track, you will become competent to handle many crises in life. That's the beauty of emotional intelligence. Therefore, my point is to tell you that self-awareness is the ability to have an introspection and know oneself. It is made up of several expressions like self-image, self-assessment, self-control, self-depreciating. Self-image. Self-image simply tells you the picture of yours that you have in your mind. Self-image. There is a saying, we will become what we think. If you think big, you will become big. If you think menially, if you think small, the same thing will happen to you. And it doesn't mean that think unusually. But one thing is true, your feelings makes your thinking. And thinking in turn influence your actions. To be active, to be practical, to be efficient and effective, the most important thing is what picture of yours you have in your mind. It is something like believing yourself or not believing yourself. Needless to elaborate. Self-assessment is a continuous process. After every action of yours, take some time to think about yourself. Whether I am right in doing that. Is it proper on my side? Self-control is your ability to control yourself. Needless to elaborate, in self-theory of personality, there is a concept called locus of control. Locus of control means the force that controls everything that happens to us in life. There are two types of controlling spirits. It may be internal locus of control or external locus of control. Those who believe in external locus of control always blame others. They always quote others as the reason for anything that happens to them. And they say, I failed in the examination because of the bad question paper, because of the bad teachers, because of the shortage of time, because of the disturbance in the next bench, something like that. For everything, they quote others as responsible. If you think internal locus of control, that makes people to believe that for everything that happens to them, they are responsible. But believe me, extremes of both are not good. Too much of internal locus of control makes the person to be self-blaming, self-pitying, self-destructive, and that may make him to be dull, disappointed, frustrated. Too much of external locus of control makes the person to make others responsible for everything, and he will become careless. A social loafer may become socially irresponsible. Therefore, self-awareness is one of the most prominent things that we must remember that makes the person the type we are, what type of person we are, whether we are a responsible person, irresponsible person, whether we believe in our strength, whether we are dependent on others, whether we blame others for everything. The reason is the concept of self-awareness. Whom do we blame for anything that happens to us? Okay, please think it over. If there is any question, you can ask me later. This is what I wanted to say about self-image. Self-image means the picture of yours you have not in the mirror, but in the mind. If you think you are beautiful, forget about the world and the mirror. You can be beautiful. Right? I'm not elaborating on this. If there are questions, you can respond. Followed by this, see, these are all self-image pictures. What you think that you become. Self-awareness, I'm elaborating, is about knowing one's own emotions. It is about understanding your own thinking patterns and knowing what thinking pattern you use in certain events. It also an understanding of your strengths and weaknesses to know what motivates you and what you want out of life. Followed by this, self-concept. Self-concept means in psychology there are different expressions, I and me. I is the personal self and the me is the social self. Personal self, social self means what you believe yourself and what the society makes you to think about you. A combination of this you will become. This is important for teachers. If you call a student intelligent, irrespective of his failures, he may, at one point of time, may try to become intelligent. If you humiliate, insult, condemn a student by saying you are useless, he may become the same. Because there is a saying, I repeat, even in my last interaction, I made a mention, I remember, when it comes to personality, you are not what you think you are not what others think you are what others think, you think others think you are. Therefore, many a time, it is our surrounding that makes us to define our personality and ourselves. Say, for instance, when it becomes inevitable to tell a lie, what will I do? When there is a challenge in front of me, what will I do? When I have to contribute and donate some money for the good of somebody, what will I do? When somebody is telling lies, which I know this is not good, what will I do? When I look at somebody who is troubling others, what will I do? These questions are related to our emotions. Say, for instance, on the street, when something unwanted is happening, as an individual, what is my responsibility and what will I do? And how to do that in a different way. That is what self-awareness. The other concept I said about self-regulation. Self-regulations means our ability to control ourselves. Say, for instance, On the road, a group of gundas are attacking on a helpless person. I am also there, but I am not a hero to go and fight with them. But what best I can do at that point of time, that I can do. And as you rightly said, there are 100 reasons every day to get angry. But anger will not solve the problem. How to control anger? Greed. Every day there are instigations to become corrupt. There are stimuli that makes me to think unethically. But how to get out of that? In the examination hall, you will be knowing there are 100 reasons for me to copy, but I am not copying. Am I copy or otherwise? Shall I go for copying or not? That depends on one's capacity to control himself. Many a time people say, everybody is bad here, that's why I did like this. Everybody is doing that, that's why I did it. No. Self-regulation is the ability to develop, implement, and flexibly maintain planned behavior in order to achieve one's own goal. One's own goal. Self-regulation is the ability to manage oneself. Self-regulation sometimes may falter because of failure or deficit at any of these given steps, 7 steps. Sometimes we may not be able to control ourselves. The reason is receiving irrelevant information. The information given to me was not proper. That's the reason I could not control. Evaluating the information and comparing it to the norms may not be proper. That's the reason I failed. Triggering the changes. The changes that happen may trigger the situation. As a result, I could not be comfortable there. Searching for options. I may not be able to get an alternate. I am angry. How to avoid it? To avoid your anger, there are 100 different ways. 100 different ways. Say, for instance, you can ask me a question. You are repeating the same thing again and again. It is irritating us. We are getting angry with you. How to avoid this? I said one word. Self-depreciating. Self-depreciating is one form of controlling ourselves. Say, for instance, instead of blaming somebody who is troubling us, who is making me angry, think in a different way. It is my fortune or misfortune that made me to be like this. It is because of something that I have done. Say, for instance, every day I have taken the time of my students and made them to get bored. Many students got disappointed because of my lengthy lectures. That could be the reason somebody is disturbing me today. That makes you to find solace. Therefore, my point is to say that there are 100 reasons to get out of the situation, but it is left to the experience of the individual that makes him to be different. Formulate a plan, implement the plan, and assess the plan's effectiveness before the action is taken. And another important thing that I mentioned as a part of emotional intelligence is self-motivation. To manage your emotions, don't look for anybody to encourage you, anybody to appreciate you. Let there be self-motivation. Self-motivation means doing everything for the sake of yourself. Doing everything for the sake of yourself. Don't think by engaging a class, you are helping somebody, but think that you are enjoying it by getting an opportunity to speak, to talk. By becoming a teacher, I got a favor. Then being a teacher, I am favoring people. This is what self-motivation is to connect everything to something personal that makes you to feel proud. It is that happiness that can make you to be engaged in everything that you are doing. This is what self-motivation. And social skills. Social skills are the skills concerned with communication. Needless to elaborate, on communication. The importance of communication can be seen that 60% of our problems are because of improper or poor communication only. Because of the communication problems, conflicts will emerge, disturbance, quarrels, unrest. Handling conflicts is a social skill. Removing misunderstanding is a skill. And interactions, basic interaction with the people. Today, when I use the word social fitness, my point was to tell that many people are not comfortable in talking to others. Many people cannot be happy in the company of a stranger, an unknown person in the group. Because we are trained in that way. We are molded in that way that anything new is risky. All the time, we suspect the people. Teamwork has become a big challenge today. Working in the teams requires lot of commitment, lot of understanding of both the person by himself and the other team members. Therefore, social skills are concerned with working in teams, handling conflicts, difference of opinions and disputes, interacting with people effectively, and then communicating properly. These are all the skills that makes people to be emotionally strong. But believe me, teaching social skills is a challenge because sometimes we are enjoying the situations by disconnecting ourselves from the mainstream. How to handle disconnections is a challenge today. We are not connected with the reality. We are not connected with the ground realities. How to get connected? Why the problem is like this? There comes the importance of connecting with people. Social skills includes, I am repeating, social skills includes accepting the differences. We speak about diversity. World is diverse, classrooms are diverse, even the families are diverse today because there are people of different beliefs, different likes and dislikes. We must be ready to accept it. Otherwise, life will become a misery. Accept the difference. Respect the people as they are. Don't expect them to be as you wish. People are what they are. Accept the differences. When you have some difficulty, when you cannot solve the problem on your own, ask for the help. It's not an insult. It is not disgraceful. Ask for the help. Communicate clearly what you want. Many a time, it is the poor communication that leads to misunderstanding. Communicate effectively. When somebody achieves something, compliment them. Give them compliments. Be generous to appreciate the good works of others. Encourage others to do something. When you are not happy with something, don't accept it. Learn to express your disagreement politely. Learn to express your disagreement politely. Follow the directions given to you by concerned people or the authorities. Learn to listen actively. Active listening is a skill, believe me. Active listening means thinking beyond the speaker's words, thinking beyond the boundaries, creatively, originally, innovatively. Right? Listening actively. Participate equally in anything where there is an opportunity. Where there is an opportunity to participate, participate equally. Conflicts bound to take place. Wherever there are people, difference of opinion must emerge. There is no rule that everybody must agree with what I say. When there is a conflict, sort it out. Search for the appropriate way. Sometimes you have to compete, sometimes you have to cooperate, sometimes you have to collaborate, sometimes you have to compromise and cooperate. Whether to cooperate, compromise, coordinate, or compromise with the quarreling person, that you have to decide. Okay, resolve the conflicts appropriately. Sharing material, it is inevitable these days. A shared life will always make us happy. Happiness comes by sharing things, let it be knowledge, let it be information or resources. Share it with people who deserve it. Staying on the task, keep on doing something, results will follow. Taking risk is inevitable, but take a calculated, meaningful, worthy risk, not all the risk. Using quiet voices, quiet voice. Voice plays a major role in impressing on others. Sometimes you have to shout, sometimes you have to be melodious, sometimes you need to be angry, sometimes you need to be polite in expressing your views. Sometimes you need to be authoritative, so that use the quiet voice is another social skill. And waiting patiently. Patience is something that is missing. Patience is something that is missing. You can recall 100 instances where you have become impatient. But how to be patient is a big million-dollar question in front of all of us. Because we are living in a society, in a world where speed is appreciated. Everybody wanted to do revolutionary changes, to bring changes overnight, which is not possible, or which may lead to accidents. Given this situation, being patient and comfortable with the pace in which we are going is a skill. That's what we call samadhana. To be patient is a real challenge. Therefore, emotional intelligence with the 5 components I mentioned helps us to emerge as an intelligent person in handling emotions ourselves and with that of others. In summary, I can tell you, emotional intelligence is the ability to identify our own feelings and needs through our body awareness. You will be knowing our hunger, thirst will be made known to us through body reactions. Likewise, whether you are angry, happy or otherwise, can be first indicated through your body. Have the sense to feel that your body is saying you are tired, you are disturbed, you are challenged, and you may get angry, you may get happy. Understand that. Identify your feelings and needs through body awareness. Ability to read others' feelings and listen to others with empathy. If you listen to others, 50% of the problem is solved. Many a time, people don't have the patience to listen. Only good listeners can become good speakers, believe me. But all teachers wanted to be teachers and speakers only and dislike to listen. But listen carefully. If you listen more, you can speak effectively. And you can think, you can process, you can interpret. Know how to express your feelings with words and body language. Your feelings can be expressed in a polite, effective manner. All the time there is no need. Criticism must be in harsh words. Criticisms can also be made with polite, smiling, pleasing manners. That makes a lot of impact than cursing somebody, insulting somebody. I think I'm reaching you. Choose when to contain your emotion and when to communicate your emotions appropriately. All the time, I am not asking you to compromise. Sometimes you have to demonstrate, manifest your anger. When your anger needs to be manifested for good cause, you must do it. When it is not required, don't do that. That is emotional intelligence. Followed by that, it is your ability to process and let go of emotions when necessary. All types of emotions will come to our mind. Man is a bundle of emotions. Greed, love, hate, jealous, disappointment. These are all emotions. Possessiveness, lust, love. These are all emotions. But you should know how to control it. That is emotional intelligence. Sometimes you have to get out of that. It is the willingness to give ourselves time to feel and enjoy the depth of ourselves through feelings. Depth of ourselves. This is what I said, insight and self-awareness. Self-awareness means try to go to your deep personality. You will surprise by understanding yourself. What are all my strengths? What are all my capabilities? What is my competence? What a wonderful person I am. Don't look for others to appreciate you. Appreciate yourself for a while, for the great things that you have done in life. For that purpose, try to know yourself more. Realize yourself more. Right? Many a time people, in olden days, people used to say that after 10 years or 50 years of tapas, God has appeared and gave them moksha. The moksha or mukti or jnanodaya are nothing but the wisdom. Viveka. Wisdom or viveka is always inside of all of us. We need to recognize that, identify that. Then only we'll understand how beautiful internally we are all. Many a time we don't do that. We simply follow others. Emotional intelligence is the ability to lead wisely and follow with grace. Lead wisely and follow with grace. It is the ability to honor our own limits. Every one of us are having our own limitations. Don't get disgraced. Don't be ashamed of your limitations. Enjoy your success. And if the limitations are responsible for the failure, try to get over them. Get out of them. Solve them. Celebrate your talent. It is the ability to give and receive love. Emotional intelligence is the ability to give love and receive love. Many a time we get disappointed by saying that nobody likes me, nobody appreciates me, nobody respects me. Have you ever raised a question? Whom do I respect? Whom do I love? Right? If you love people, people will love you definitely. Love is something always that can be given. Respect is always something that you can give. But we want everybody to respect us, but we are not respecting anybody. Ultimately, it is to say that respect the world, respect the society, respect your job, respect your community, respect this earth. Emotional intelligence can be interpreted in many ways, many ways. Okay, this is the summary of emotional intelligence that I wanted to convey to you. You can understand emotional intelligence can be a combination of the intelligent cognitive mind and the emotional mind. Cognitive and intelligent mind is on the one side, emotional mind is on the other side. A proper blend of these two will make you a competent person to interact with anybody confidently. That can happen only by practice. Emotional intelligence, listening to a lecture will not make us to be so strong. When there is an opportunity to control ourselves, when there is an opportunity to express a different type of emotions than required, say for instance, keeping silence is not an easy job. Many people take silence for their advantage and take it for granted. To be patient, to be silent, one needs to be internally strong. And we have seen when a silent person bursts out, what would be the consequences? Patience is not an easy thing. But what is needed today is patience in everything that we do. Tolerance is not an easy thing. Tolerance is the missing link today. That's the reason there is so much of social unrest, social disturbance. That can be sorted out by making people to make an introspection, think about you. Internally, you will find something that educates you about the world. If I like myself so much, same is the case with others. They also like themselves. If I respect my language, others will do the same thing. If I love my mother, others will also do the same thing about their mother. That understanding will make each one of us to be respectful to others, and that brings naturally respect to all of us, and that type of content must be presented before the youngsters to make them socially responsible, socially connected, socially caring, because many a time it is the silence of the intelligent, it is the carelessness of the intelligent that causes damage to the society. It is not only the act of criminals that affects the community, it is the inactions of the intelligent people in controlling these criminals that makes the world a bad place to live. If at all we wish to make this world a lovable, good place to live, we need to understand our capacities, our abilities, and must respect in the proper way. I'm not asking everybody to take a sword and go to the war. No, not necessary. The wars are fought in terms of ideologies, mindsets, thinking. Today, there is a need to prepare the people with open, generous mindset to respect everybody, everywhere, and to get the things done in the expected manner without hurting anybody. There comes the importance of the concept emotional intelligence. I have given you only the outlines. If you have any queries, you can ask questions. Otherwise, I'll take you to other topic immediately, time permits. If there are questions, I can relate it with interpersonal skills also. Interpersonal skills are all concerned with developing interpersonal relationship. Needless to proceed any further, you can understand our relationships are depends upon the way we speak, the way we respond, the way we react to situations. Your capacity to question, your capacity to give feedback, your capacity to listen effectively, and your capacity to communicate properly determines the relationship with others around you. Let it be a student or a teacher or anybody for that matter. Your relations can be further continued based on your ability to handle the emotions. It is because of our inability to handle emotions, conflicts will occur. When the conflict comes, how to sort out that conflict without troubling anybody, that calls for emotional intelligence. Now it is open for discussion. Please try to criticize, try to comment so that I can concentrate, because I gave up the idea of interacting with you at 2:45 itself. Again, when the power came, I was made to sit in front of this. I did it as much as I can do. Please ask questions, make comments so that we can give justice for the time spent. It's open for discussion now.
Sir. Hello, sir.
Please proceed, madam. Please.
Sir, do yoga, meditation, and pranayama help in regulating our emotions, sir?
Yes. When you do, I'm not propagating for anything. Yoga or pranayama, they are all one form of meditation through which you can have an insight into your personality. ನೀವು ಕಣ್ಣು ಮುಚ್ಚಿ ಕುಳಿತು ಯೋಗ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುವಾಗ, ಮೆಡಿಟೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಪ್ರಥಮವಾಗಿ ಆಗುವಂಥದ್ದು ಏನಂದ್ರೆ, ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ಇಲ್ಲ ಸಲ್ಲದ ಯೋಚನೆಗಳು ಮೊದಲು ಬರ್ತವೆ. ಆ ಯೋಚನೆಗಳು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ 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 ಹೋಗಿ ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಒಂದು ಹಂತದಲ್ಲಿ, ವಿಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಬಿ ಓಕೆ ಇಫ್ ಐ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ ಇನ್ ಕನ್ನಡ, ಒಂದು ಹಂತದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೀವು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಬ್ರೀದಿಂಗ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಕಣ್ಣುಗಳಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ಇತರ ಅವಯವಗಳಿಗೆ ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ. ಅಗೈನ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಆ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಪೀಪಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ಸಜೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಲ್ ದಿಸ್. I'm not spiritually talking about it. Psychologically, meditation will definitely improve your capacity to think, your capacity to interpret and make decisions. I think you got the
Does
answer.
the food, sir? Yes, sir, I got. Sir, does food influence our emotions, sir?
ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಷನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ನನಗನ್ಸಿದಂತೆ ಆಹಾರ ಖಂಡಿತ ನಮ್ಮ ವಿಚಾರಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಪರಿಣಾಮ ಬೀರುತ್ತದೆ. Food definitely influences our thoughts. No doubt in it. No doubt in it. Food influences. But what food influences what ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಆರ್ಗ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಹೋದ್ರೆ, any food for that matter, food of one may be poison to another. Food of somebody may be harmful to other. ನಾವು ಏನನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮ ಫುಡ್ ಅಂತ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೀವೋ ದಟ್ ಫುಡ್ ವಿಲ್ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೂಯೆನ್ಸ್. ಆ ಫುಡ್ ಸಿಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಡಿಸಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ಫ್ರಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. ದಟ್ ಮೇ ಲೀಡ್ಸ್ ಟು ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಥಾಟ್ಸ್. ಫುಡ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೂಯೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಅವರ್ ಥಾಟ್ಸ್, ನೋ ಡೌಟ್. ಮತ್ತೆ ಪವರ್ ಹೋಗಿದೆ ನಮ್ ಕಡೆ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬ್ಯಾಟ್ರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅಬೌಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಸೆಡ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್.